Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So Diddy walked into the courtroom yesterday smiling, greeting his family, hugging his lawyer, almost like he was waiting on some good news. He's got a new judge on the case, he's got new attorneys, and he's got an endless amount of money. One thing Diddy can now add to his list of got a whole lot of is time. Diddy's trial date does not begin until May 5th, so if he is not granted this new appeal, Diddy is missing Halloween, his birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. You name it! So it seems like it's going to be a long time before Diddy sees the light of day again. However, yesterday Diddy had a status conference with a whole bunch of bickering back and forth between both of the sides. But most importantly, Judge Aaron Submaranian brought up the fact that there was no bail package brought before him. So Diddy's bail appeal will actually be conducted in appellate court in front of a 3-judge panel. So Diddy has not been denied his third attempt at bail quite yet. Lastly, we're going to talk about Thalia Graves, which is one of Diddy's accusers. She accused him and his bodyguard, Big Joe, of essaying her. Joe denied it, saying he had never seen her before. However, we do have alleged text messages from not only Thalia, but her boyfriend who claims he saw the tape, 2 very credible people who used to work for Bad Boy, and a whole lot more. But before we get into that, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. I can guarantee you that when Diddy wore the number 24 on his jersey, he probably didn't know that that number would represent the worst year of his life.
Not guilty.
Now, yesterday during the status conference, the U.S. Attorney Johnson stated that the investigation was ongoing and there could be a superseding indictment. So far, the U.S. government has given Diddy's attorneys 1 terabyte worth of discovery. There were 96 devices that were seized from both his L.A. and Miami home, as well as on his person at a private airport in Florida. They also confiscated his phone when they arrested him in September in New York, and it's going to take them up to 30 days to extract all of this information. Technology is forever changing, and it does not allow them to quickly extract. Some of his tablets were old, and some of the devices were damaged, so they need forensics to be able to go through and get that information. Now, Diddy's lead attorney, Agnifilo, stated that he wanted a gag order to be put in place because there was concern that the agents had been leaking grand jury information and making prejudicial statements. When it comes to the raids on Diddy's homes, he states that media outlets were already on the scene prior to HSI agents even entering the premises. Agnifilo also questions how CNN obtained the video footage from March 2016 of Cassie Ventura being attacked by Diddy. So Judge Aaron Submaranian said that the gag order would prohibit any further leaking of information to the media. Prosecution really wasn't feeling it, but they was like, okay, we'll deal with it, but will this be reciprocal? Because Agnifilo has been making some baseless statements about the government engaging in a racist prosecution. Attorney Johnson from the U.S. side said, I'll read a quote. Mr. Agnifilo said, they make this case as a takedown of a successful black man. She said that the statements have been picked up and he should affirm his obligations under Rule 23.1. Nonetheless, Diddy's trial date has been set for May 5th, 2025. Now, Judge Aaron Submaranian wanted to make clear that he did not have an application of bail set before him. Well, that's because the bail request was sent to the appellate court, and there is a 3-judge panel that will review this to see if Diddy will get out of jail. Now, Diddy's attorneys requested that he be immediately released pending the disposition of the bail motion, and the court was like, nope, not gonna happen. They also requested that the bail motion be filed under seal with partial redactions, and the judge approved. So Diddy could still possibly be released from jail at some point before his May 5th trial date, but of course we are going to have to see how this all plays out. Now let's talk about one of Diddy's accusers. So we've been talking about Thalia Graves, and lately her story has not been playing out very well in the public. Reading Thalia's complaint had me sick to my stomach, to say the least. It was probably one of the most graphic out of all that we've read when it comes to the things that Sean Combs is being accused of. Thalia had a boyfriend that worked at Bad Boy, and because of that she would frequent the office on a regular. She states that Diddy contacted her saying that he wanted to talk to her about her boyfriend's performance. Because of the love for her boyfriend, she decides to meet with Diddy. Diddy and his bodyguard, according to her, picked her up from her home, took her to the bad boy offices. On the way to the office, she was given a drink. The drink had her feeling woozy, and after that, things got strange. Going in and out of consciousness, she states that her hands were tied behind her back with what appeared to be grocery bags, and she stated that these men brutally essayed her. This woman was 4'11" and said that she was a little over 100 pounds at the time, so it would be damn near impossible for her to overpower them. Thalia states that she was finally able to get away. She was not able to retrieve her undergarments, but she was able to get her clothes on. Her driver offered to take her to the hospital. She got to the hospital, but she couldn't move in order to get out. She ended up going home. She spoke to her boyfriend about it, and he discouraged her from saying anything about the assault because it could negatively affect his career as an executive at Bad Boy. So you have to think about this. This assault allegedly happened in 2001. So from 2001 to 2023, she's going through therapy. She's trying to cope with this. November 16, 2023, Cassie comes out with a lawsuit stating all of the horrific things that she went through while being with P. Diddy. And according to Thalia, 11 days later on November 27th, her world came crashing down when her ex-boyfriend contacted her stating that the assault that Diddy and Big Joe had with her was actually on tape and he's seen it. Now, I'm sure reading or hearing about Cassie's lawsuit made her ex-boyfriend feel some type of way, and that's the reason why he contacted her. But he stated that when he saw this video, there were several men at the Bad Boy Studios that saw it as well with him on a camcorder. They're alleging that Combs, Big Joe, and other men made derogatory comments about the boyfriend to try to make him feel bad and end up cutting Thalia off.
I don't know this lady from anywhere.
You've never met her?
Never in my life.
Same day that she found out about the video, she contacted her ex-boyfriend with a picture of Big Joe, and she said, "That's the bastard." She says, "I contacted blank," which is a name I redacted, and she says, "Hopefully he has a lawyer." And then her boyfriend says, "Okay, cool, and yes, that's Big Joe." She says, "I know." Then she says, "Email me a synopsis of the video you've seen." And then she has her email address. Now, TMZ has these very same text messages from Thalia and the man who was her boyfriend at the time. And in these texts, they're saying that she revealed she's planning to sue Diddy because he's the one that has the money. What was not revealed was the context within that text that made her say that. And anytime a publication does not reveal the full story, then you get articles like this. 50 Cent calls out Thalia Graves' accusations against Diddy. Caught this bitch lying. Thalia then asked her ex-boyfriend about the act that the New York state legislation enacted in May of 2022, and he told her that it was the Adult Survivors Act. She says, "Okay, I think I'm going to file a claim, especially if that damn tape is in rotation. Does Diddy live in New York or in his New Jersey house?" Ex-boyfriend says, "I have no idea where he lives." She says, "Guess attorneys have to find out." He says, "I'm sure that's not hard to find out." She says, "Okay." She follows the text with, "Do you have a good attorney there?" He says, "No, not in contact with any." She says, "You're gonna have to be my backbone again and testify about the video that Joe was showing everyone in the office. That is like the worst thing they could do to a woman. Record her incapacitated and being AR'd and showed it to everybody. Who does shit like that?" So the ex-boyfriend says, "I'm willing to testify if you need me as to what I saw on the video and can talk to your lawyers once you file, but don't want to email anything as I don't want to be the focus of the case. Really don't want that hitting the media with my name attached to it as a witness." Still contacting the ex-boyfriend, and she says, "Do you know a Joe Hall? Do you think that's Big Joe's last name?" He says, "No idea, in the middle of some stuff." She says, "Call me when you can." Then she says the attorney wants to go after Puffy the most because he's the one that has the money. I guess Joe works for MCA Productions or something, so that's secondary. Now, the attorney she had representing her at the time was not Gloria Allred. It was an attorney that likes to chase after money. So this statement from TMZ where they said that she was planning to sue Diddy because he's the one that has the money, that did not come out of her mouth. She said that came from the attorney's mouth, who she's not even using anymore. So she goes on to say, "So I guess I'm not on the video they have, but it's the same MO as the other girls. So I guess once you tell the attorney you've seen the video, then other witnesses will come and he will file the case." She means the attorney. Now, a male and a female that were pretty well known that once worked for Bad Boy are having a discussion via text. Now, they're talking about Thalia and her ex-boyfriend. So the woman says that the ex-boyfriend cried at the airport. The man says, "Oh, he can always call me though." And the woman says, "He is so scared." The man says, "They didn't name him, did they?" The woman says she will have to because he told her about the tape Thanksgiving. The man says, yeah, I remember that day. I remember Joe was effing with Thalia's boyfriend bad. The girl told me her boyfriend wasn't there. Said Diddy and Joe picked her up from her house and told her they needed to talk to her about her boyfriend because his job was at risk in Joe's burgundy truck, but Joe's been doing this stuff for years. The man goes on to say, I just can't believe Puff would get in a tape like that with him. But Joe, I remember that day we was about to go on tour or was coming in from someplace. It was around the same release of Blank, which is a song I redacted. I remember the girl had on a burgundy or red dress that was like a sweater and Joe kept effing with her. And the woman says, how do you remember all this? The woman goes on to say, I remember the boys talking about it. I should try to reach out and help this girl. Did you reach back out to the girl? I just sent her a message. He says, I didn't because I also thought me saying something would put my name way out there and I'm not making a dime for the stress. You let me know. He says, I remember because we just released an album and we were touring all over. I was there. And the woman says, but it might help her and help her boyfriend get closure. He will contact you on IG. She says, so it literally happened the way the girl said it did. He said, I never liked Joe after that. He used to sell pornography of him doing this to chicks. The woman said, so pretty much everyone knew that she was R by Puff and Joe. How horrifying of her boyfriend and her. He had to still work with them. Did you ever see the tape? The guy says, you know, her boyfriend is my friend. I knew it bothered him. I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. It was true what was on the tape. He did that to a lot of women. The woman said, damn, so everyone seen Thalia, what's her name, get R'd and her boyfriend had to deal with it? From what I heard, that girl was physically hurt from being tied up and R'd. The man said he was hurt too and Joe kept effing with him. The man says it's Puff's office, the little room. The woman says, I bet her boyfriend was, that's still friends 28 years later. Did she remember what Puff's lounge looked like? The man says she described it to me and what she described was his office. And why I remember when they turned the office into a studio and I think Stevie was working in there? I recorded songs in there with Blank and Blank. I remember very well. Joe was like, I'll eat your and lick your Then said I take She says, yeah, that office was Puff's personal space. He says, remember when the equipment was in there? She says, what the F was Puff doing? The man says, I don't know. The woman says, yeah, they moved from Studio B, but I don't remember where they took it. The man says, so females say he did that to them. It was in his office. Stevie J was working on Mary. The woman says, so Joe roughed up the women and drugged them so Puff could finish the job. The man says, that's the confusing part. I know Puff was there. The woman says, I would like to help the girl. The man says, as you should. I think Joe picked her up, like off the ground. The woman says, can't believe we survived this bullshit and they blackballed us. He said, in a choke, I'm glad God is real, love. She said, damn, bro, that girl was under 5 foot and super small. He said, dude is in trouble spiritually. I remember. She said, very much so. She said, can't imagine how traumatizing it was for her. Joe is over 6'5" and probably 450 pounds. He said, and loud. He sold porn. That tripped me out. She said, definitely, he was a big mouth. He said, yo, I think after that, Puff didn't like Joe at the studio. She said, Puff had all the fame and fortune. What was the purpose behind all this? Was he mad at her boyfriend or something? Because then they both involved. But all this is going to be public soon. Hopefully all victims will be okay and treated with respect. He called the woman's name and said, dude messed up my life. I'm still struggling to get back, but you are so strong. She said, mine too, bro. Maybe we should start talking publicly and help these victims. He said, let's talk later. Let's build. She says, okay. Her boyfriend sent you an IG.
The girl and the bodyguard who they said was Joseph Stewart. Now, he's known as Big Joe. Even, I think, who was that? Yeah, that was Black Rob. Said it in his own video. You know what I'm saying? Don't let me go get the G.I. Joe.
Play yourself, I get the G.I. Joe.
The young lady, she contacted me. It has to be up to 9 months in a year, 9 months to a year almost. She said that there's a tape out there when they were sexually assaulting me. I know it ain't you, Gene, but I need to know if you could help me. I don't want to do anything to Joe. This is what she told me. I just want the tape so I can give to my lawyer because I'm gonna go after Puff. She told me that. I told her that I'll see what I could do. I so happily seen Joe in the street. I didn't call him or nothing like that. I seen Joe And Joe said he didn't know anything about it. He said he didn't know anything about it, and that was it. I went back to the young lady. I told her, I spoke to Joe. He said he didn't know anything about it. I gave him, I don't know if I gave him his number or whatever like that, but she said, okay, Gene. She thanked me, and 9 months to a year later, I see this thing come out that she's accusing Joe and Puff of sexually assaulting her.
Well, it seems like everything is not as it appears, and it's oftentimes that the media can make you think something and turn you against someone instead of having you looking at the bigger picture. So I have 2 other videos discussing everything about Diddy and Thalia Graves and Big Joe. So what I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about everything going on in the world of Diddy? Leave a comment and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Once again, thanks for watching. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.